Back to that breaking story we've been keeping an eye on here. A deadly train derailment in Washington state. 2 of the train cars have come off of the tracks and onto the highway I-5 below.
And we continue to get in new information and new pictures from the scene. Right now, our Tanya Babbage is in the newsroom following the details for us. Tanya.
Judy and Terrell, very tragic here. We're now hearing that there are multiple fatalities on the train, but none on the road below. We're going to start with a wide view of the scene, give you some perspective on where this happened and the kind of damage that we're looking at. Have a look here. This picture comes to us from the Washington State Department of Transportation. It shows that derailed train car dangling over a very busy Interstate 5 outside of Seattle. Amtrak says this is train 501. It's part of its Cascade service that travels between Seattle and Portland. What you're not seeing in this picture, though, is that there are several other train cars that have crashed down on the other side of the overpass. We have a closer look at the damage now, and we're told that there are vehicles on the road that were flattened when the rail cars fell to the ground below. There are multiple motorists who were hurt. Again, though, no fatalities on the ground from the impact. The people who died in this crash were on the train. We don't yet know how many of them there were. We don't know how serious the injuries on the ground are. Only that masses of first responders rushed to the scene. We're seeing that in these pictures here. We know that there were 75 people on the train when it crashed. We have an eyewitness report from one of them.
So I was on my way to work, and 50 feet prior to going under the overpasses, everybody on the freeway came to a sudden stop, trying to avoid colliding into one another. Once we all stopped, we looked up and realized that the train had come off the tracks, so off the overpass onto the freeway. Hanging there, and lots of folks, including a lot of good military personnel, ran to try to give help before emergency personnel arrived.
When we got to the scene, it was obvious that there were some fatalities.
That was the sheriff that we were getting some information from earlier. Here's your live picture provided by one of our affiliates. Down on the ground now, you see these buses, presumably for personnel that are there on the scene or for perhaps the injured. There are lots of flashing lights on the ground. We had a wider shot earlier where you could actually see some of the cars that were crushed by the impact of the train derailing. And we've gotten some very important information about this stretch of tracks that runs over I-5. We've learned that the southbound train was on an inaugural run over this stretch of tracks that has long been in place for freight service, but was just upgraded for passenger service and reopened to these passenger trains this morning. The service was added to bypass some tight curves and some tunnels that allows the train to travel at faster speeds. We're told that it should max out at 79 miles per hour. We're going to have a better idea of just how fast this train was traveling when emergency responders are able to recover the black box on the train and review the information that's on it. One of the eyewitness reports that we heard was that the weather is cloudy. It's rainy in Seattle this morning, and in Washington, where this accident happened. We don't know if weather played a role in the crash here. We are still awaiting an injury count, but for a fast-moving train to jump the tracks over a major highway at the height of the morning rush, well, this has the potential to just be catastrophic here. Judy, back to you.